are not the dead wood, and so forth. These are issues that we talk.
At SlyMedia Productions, we offer live streaming services to companies willing to reach a worldwide audience.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to this live Facebook page. We call this platform Talking Everything with Oscar. Remember, on this platform we cover a wide array of issues. Sometimes we look at sports, business, entertainment, and politics. This is the platform where we get to discuss all those issues. This is SlyMedia Tv. Now, today we've got a very different story to talk about. We want to change the script to Mopinda Panyadze politics. Very soon, the MDC Alliance shall be having its Congress, that is on the 24th, 25th, as well as the 26th of May. So we are here to speak to Senator Douglas Mwonzora, who is the Secretary General of the MDC Alliance. Senator Mwonzora, thank you so much for joining us on this live broadcast.
Oh, thank you very much, Oscar.
Now, what does the Constitution say about the Congress, which is forthcoming?
Well, the MDC is 20 years old, and every 5 years it has its Congress to elect the key office bearers, mostly in the standing committee. But this election of the members of the standing committee is preceded by Congress in the lower structures. So we will have Congress at what level to determine who heads the executive of that ward. And then we go to the districts, then the province, and then the national Congress. So it is a process where when we start with the Congress at the lower ranks, this builds up. Those people who win become the delegates of the main Congress. We are expecting about 4,500 to 5,000 people in the National Congress, which is going to be held over 3 days, the 24th, the 25th, and the 26th. We will have the National Congress for the Youth, where they elect the Youth Executive, then the National Congress for the Women's Assembly, where they elect the women representatives. Then we have the main Congress, where they elect the 16 members of the Standing Committee. One person is going to be appointed, and this person is the Secretary of Elections. So with that, we will complete the Congress. At this Congress, we are not only going to be dealing with leadership, we are going to be dealing with a wide range of issues. We are going to be dealing with organizational renewal. We are going to be talking about the structural issues within the organization.
Are you going to contest in this forthcoming Congress?
Definitely, I am going to contest in the Congress for leadership. I want this position, or I want that position is not
post so that we just clear the air, because you've been in the media recently.
I absolutely the
ground, Tumendaba ground, Secretary General, isn't President Nelson Chamisa popular on the ground? Kuti my elections, a president Ajnaba, how would you come in?
Well, I cannot really weigh the strength of the president right now. Safe to say that he is the president of the movement right now.
You cannot weigh.
And he is my president. I am the Secretary General. As things stand right now, we do have a leadership. Now, when it comes to the decision of who head the party, that is a Congress decision. That is going to be made by the structures. The structures themselves, I haven't asked them how they regard him, and I haven't asked them whether they want to change him or they want someone else to come in. I haven't asked them that. But it is one of their rights. Within the MDC, we have this concept of the sovereignty of the people. This is the right of the people. The people we usually see as powerless, as inconsequential, have unfathomable power when it comes to the selection of leadership. They confer leadership, they can remove. Now, when it comes to President Chamisa, he has done quite a lot of good things. I can acknowledge that, and everybody knows that. So have many leaders. So have I, as Secretary General.
Okay, I want to zoom in on you, Senator Douglas Mwonzora, as well as President Nelson Chamisa, because Rugudama Pepaka. Would you stand?
For what?
For the post, the top post, this coming Congress, because my viewers are allowed to answer.
If the MDC members say I must stand, then it is their decision.
But you don't have any interest as of now.
As of now, I have no knowledge at all. In fact, one of the unfair things that are happening within the MDC is that only one person in the whole organization is being asked to declare his interest up front. Nobody's being asked. Mr. Tendai BT has not been asked. Mr. Job Scala has not been asked. Mr. Gonese has not been asked. President Chamisa has not been asked. Komich has not been asked. Wende has not been asked. It is Douglas Mwonzora who is being asked to declare up front what they are going to stand for.
What could be the reason behind?
The question is, why me?
Why you? That's my question.
I have absolutely no idea, but it is awkward that the whole organization and probably the country are focusing on one individual to say you must declare what you want up front. Other people are being allowed to consult, to weigh their chances and so on, and to do so in private. And what I need to assure our members is that I am consulting the grassroots, I am consulting the provinces, I am consulting the districts, I am consulting the wards regarding where they want to place me. And it is sensible for me to do that because at the end of the day, the decision is not mine. But what I'm saying is, I find it awkward that all this is on me. I haven't told anyone what I want to contest. Neither have the members of the MDC, including our president. But I'm being asked to declare upfront. It is unfair, it is unjust. And that is why you may not get a very good answer on that question, because I feel that it's unfair. In fact, what the people who have been making spurious allegations against me have been aiming to do is for me to declare. When I declare, they then know how to affect my chances in any position.
Which people? People from the MDC? People from which people, to be specific?
Well, I've seen a couple of officials within the MDC, potential competitors, going into the social media and saying quite a lot of unfortunate things, sometimes insults, sometimes presumptive statements about what my intentions are going to be, sometimes as unfair as evaluation of my own intellectual capacity. I find that a bit unfortunate, though.
So, on talking everything, is it correct to say there's a crisis in the MDC alliance?
Well, not really, because the party is intact. The party is
Not
intact.
really. It's not yes or no. It's in between.
Well, there is some crisis somewhere, and I was going to go to that. Not really, because the party is intact. Nelson Chamisa is the president. I am the Secretary General. We have a system here that runs, that works. We do have our party members. We are having our programs. So to that extent, the party is functional. We are having a developing crisis, and the developing crisis is where senior leadership take to the social media to attack other leaders on things that do not have substance, making of allegations against other members. This is the reason why we are here right now. We are here right now because the truth has to be told. The truth has to be known. The MDC members who are out there wanted to know whether there is anything wrong with their Secretary General. They want to know.
Yeah, that's why we are here.
Yes, they want to know whether their Secretary General, in fact, is in receipt of the sum of $6 million from broke ZANU-PF. They want to know whether the Secretary General has sold out the organization. They want to know that, and they have the right to know that. But this is coming because senior leaders within the party have behaved in an irresponsible manner. They have made accusations which they know are false, and they are doing this for their own reason. And some of them who are making these allegations are people whom we have recently rehabilitated into the party.
Okay,
and I find it very awkward.
I'll definitely come back to that. Let's go back to your comments. Your comments are very important, so let's just read them out as they come through. Msongelwa Brandon, he seems so confident that he will win. That's your comment. Thank you so much for joining us. Mwonzora, best MP ever by Nyanga Ipapo, SlyMedia. Thank you so much for your contribution. Kennedy Jonga, yes you did. That's your response there. Tichaona Shumba, watenderwa nani kuita nani press conference iyoyo. That's a comment coming from Tinashe Shumba. Aubrey Manake Manyika, ask yourself, why ZANU-PF wants you? They know Uri, walk over to them. That's a comment coming from Aubrey Manake Manika. Admire Maramba, if Douglas becomes MDC president, I'm rejoining the movement. That's a comment coming from Admire Maramba. Thank you so much. Khalifa Ronewan Blogo Zanzi Mwonzora for president. That's your comment. We're just reading them as they are coming through. Koki Wanashe Mutemeri Anzi, calm, good guy. That's your comment there. Timothy Mwanjali Zanzi Sia could declare in Zimbabwean Dataura Chita Jandakuza Uchanyura. That's a comment coming from Timothy Mwanjali. Kupakwashe Kundai, we support Chamisa Kwete Congress Yenyu Ikoko Star Pananero Dr. Robarita. Let's come back to you, Senator Mumbo Pindura.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to thank the members for the comments. And as you can see, these comments are varied. They are varied because there may be information death on the part of the viewers there. First of all, who has permitted me to have this discussion? I am the Secretary General of the party, elected at Congress in 2014. I am allowed to have discussions of this nature, especially when they deal with the health of the party, to explain to our people, to explain to our members what is going on. It is within my rights as the Secretary General. Secondly, allegations have been made against me. I have the right to reply. It is a constitutional right. We have put it in the Constitution that if information adverse about you is put in the public domain, it is fair, just, and equitable that you answer back. And that is the reason why we are having this. It's not a press conference. It is an interview. Regarding whether ZANU-PF will see me as somebody who is a weakling, well, that is up to individual discretion. But I want to tell you this about myself. I joined opposition politics in 1988 as a student at the University of Zimbabwe. In 1989, I was a member of the Zimbabwe Unity Movement. We were fighting against the one-party state that Mugabe wanted to declare. We were successful in that fight against the one-party state. In 1990, I was detained in Wawa prison for writing the constitution of the Zimbabwe Unity Movement. I was a law student, third-year law student then, and I volunteered to write a constitution for the opposition party because I felt that Zimbabwe had to be a democracy, that Zimbabwe had to be a multi-party state. In 1994, what most people do not know is that in 1994, Morgan Tsvangirai, myself, Alois Masepe, Isaac Manyemba, Masipula Stole, and one more guy, Christopher Giwa, who is late now, we met in Jameson Hotel, Sanyat Room Jameson Hotel.
Doing what?
We were planning on forming a political party, and we formed the Forum Party. Morgan Tsvangirai was supposed to lead that party. Then we agreed with him that it was, he thought that it was too early. And then he went back to the Labour. In 1997, I took the government to court over the constitutionality of the Political Parties Finances Act. Our argument there was that other political parties other than ZANU-PF must be given money from the taxpayer. Up to now, our members in the MDC may be happy to know that we are in receipt every year of a government grant because of the case that we won in 1997. I was a young boy then.
You're justifying your capability with all this history. I can be president of this party.
What I'm saying is I am certainly not weak. I was in Kopak. It was a tough call in Kopak, fighting for the constitution of this country. I was detained by Mugabe for 27 days for insisting that there must be a limited term. And during Kopak, and people may watch the Democrats if they want, during Kopak it was tough. We were dealing with ZANU-PF. Being tough with ZANU-PF does not mean being rude to them. Being tough means
just hold on there. Rude to them. Who within your party is rude to people outside there?
No, I didn't suggest that anybody within my party is rude. No.
Okay.
I am saying that some people may mistake that when I talk well to an opponent without shouting at them, I am being weak. No. What is important is whether you stick to your mandate. I was given the mandate to deliver a new constitution, first and foremost by the MDC. I delivered it.
So this justifies that you are not a ZANU-PF project?
I am certainly not a ZANU-PF project.
Say on ZANU-PF project.
I have those people who are saying that do not believe that. They are actually saying it out of malice. They know it is false. It is political banda. It is mudslinging. Why is it mudslinging? I have been an official of the MDC, a high-ranking official for all these years. No allegations have been made. I was okay with everyone. They were okay with me until last week. Last week, what happened? What happened last week is that we then declared the dates for Congress. And all of a sudden, because there is a Congress, somebody is supposed to be ZANU. Excuse me, I am not ZANU-PF. Now, I want to go to... Nelson Chamisa himself has not said it. I should have observed him there. But some officials have said it.
Within the MDC?
Within the MDC, they have said it, and I have said it.
So in your party, you don't trust each other?
Well,
there's no trust in your party?
Well, first, if people want to destroy somebody's integrity, somebody's career, because they fear competition, there's nothing I can do about that. It's human nature. But let me say that this MDC has a constitution. President Chamisa is my boss. The National Standing Committee is there, the National Executive, the National Council is there. There is no way within the MDC where I will be in this office. And as you can see, I am in the office of the Secretary General. How can they allow me to continue? How come I have not been disciplined? How come I have not been brought before a hearing? How come I have not been suspended? This shows that the allegations are false, and people know it. Now, I want to come to two comments that came from ZANU-PF. The first comment came from Victor Matemadanda sometime last year, and he, in response to what President Chamisa had said something to this effect, that the people who voted against Chamisa, who voted for Mwonzora in 2014 must vote Chamisa out come MDC Congress. That's Victor Matemadanda making a break bet at my president. What did I do? I issued a statement castigating Victor Matemadanda. He has no right to choose a leader for the MDC. We will do it. Yeah, but look, this is a political opponent who is saying things, well knowing the reaction of some of my colleagues within the MDC. The next person who made a comment was Louis Matutu. Louis Matutu last week says, I think Mwonzora is going to win. And my colleagues then interpreted that to say it means he's supporting Mwonzora. But Louis Matutu didn't end there. He says, I don't like Mwonzora, I don't like Chamisa. I don't like both of them.
But you are going to win.
Yes.
That was his point.
Yes.
Okay.
But let me yeah.
Would you win?
But look, if I am a Liverpool supporter and Roma and Juventus are playing, I am able to say Juventus is going to win. I'm able to say Roma is going to win. Doesn't mean that I support them. That's not the support that we know about.
Okay.
We always comment, Oscar, we always comment about what is happening next door. We always comment ourselves about the ZANU-PF Congress. We always comment about Chiwenga, Mnangagwa, Mohadi. These are our prime opponents. We always comment about them. That doesn't mean make us ZANU-PF people.
Let's go back to your comments. Pataida, Dennis Jaji, and the politics is a game of numbers. Chamisa is numbers amongst ordinary people. So if you winning party structure, the MDC has lost 23. That's a comment coming from Pataida, Dennis Jaji. Would you want to answer?
Yes. First of all, Dennis, you have to be fair. You haven't tested me anywhere, and therefore you are judging me using which standard? You are saying that I'm capable of winning what? Why are you saying I'm incapable of winning anything? You must remember that the elections that we do in the MDC are a collective affair. For example, I was campaigning principally in Manicaland for the President Chamisa in the last election. And Manicaland, which is the province where I was standing for senator as well, we are the only rural province that beat ZANU-PF even according to the cooked ZEG figures. We won straight, 296,000 to 292,000. And that I did put effort there as well. So it's not a one-man affair. We work as a unit. Komich was doing something, Tedaibit was doing something, President Chamisa was doing something, I was doing something, all other members were doing something. No, we were doing.
But current affairs, would you say people Panama with Shagega? Abasna that theme from 1999?
No. What I'm saying is that when we came to the presidential election, right now we do not have a presidential election.
United.
Right now, yes, we are united. But right now, individual leaders want to get positions and they want to take advantage, to gain advantage over others. And there are some people like me who think that you can show your advantage over others without harming others. In other words, you can talk about yourself. You can sell yourself, your ideas, and your program. There are others who think that in order for them to shine, they have to take other people down. In other words, there are people who want to be stars in the absence of the sun. It's human nature. It does happen. So those people who are mudslinging others, I saw very despicable allegations against President Chamisa, the rape. It was bizarre. It was weird. I do not approve of that. And it's disgusting. We cannot have our politics sink that low. So, yes, I may have differences in opinions over this issue or that issue with my president. That doesn't make us enemies.
Let's go back to your comments. Bruce Ndeke, please take note of these comments. Victor Chataika, Anzi Mwonzora, tell the audience that you support Chamisa. That's a comment from Victor Chachkoka. Admire Adi, Anzi Chamisa, chete apo. That's your comment. Tafazwa Mapiringano, competition is good. Zanzi wakatengwa Mwonzora. That's a comment coming from Ngoni Zashe Choko. Cledson Gwatizo, and the democracy is on the MDC logo, not in the party culture. Why not allow the men to run for any office if it's truly a democratic party? George Makoya Bunjanja and Chamisa Chete Chete for president, come rain, come thunder. D-Cells Nyasha Guamombe, Mwonzora is good. Primrose Safuri, Chamisa Chete Chete, and when they must give Douglas a break, Douglas has a constitutional right to contest.
Well, first of all, let me go to the direct question. Do I support Chamisa or do I not? Of course I support Chamisa. I support Chamisa because he is the president currently in the MDC. I supported him when he was running for president of the country. I wanted him to win, and I acted in a manner that advanced his interest. He is the president. When it comes to Congress, I do not know whether I will contest because I do not know whether I will be nominated.
Okay, would you want to contest as an individual?
As an individual,
yeah.
I do not want to act as an individual. It's not my style. We act as a collective. In other words, for me to get to any position, I must be nominated by the members of the MDC. So this is an instance where the members of the party have power over us, the leaders. It is to confer the leadership. I may want to be this, I may want to be that, but that's not up to me. It's up to the people to choose. And I agree with the person who talked about, no, this is democracy. We are the movement for democratic change. Democracy is some of its tough moments. And unfortunately, this is one of them where people are being asked to unfortunately choose. Sometimes choosing between people they love. I have seen people who like both myself and President Chamisa. I've seen quite a lot of youngsters are like that. And if we are to contest each other, they are now being forced to choose. And it's a tough thing.
Okay.
But
I'm going to be a president. We party. My direct questions. Mwonzora, Senator. I'm going to be a president. We MDC alliance. Naramangwana kana uti paduze.
Well, first, if the members of the MDC deploy me to that office, I will go to that office. It's allowed. In terms of clause 5.5.1 of the constitution of the MDC, it's allowed. What I'm against, Oscar, is the criminalization of contest. The criminalization of contest doesn't do anybody a favor. It doesn't do me a favor because it's labeling me a criminal. It doesn't do President Chamisa a favor because it's labeling him intolerant. And yet President Chamisa himself in Gweru made it clear that all positions are up for grabs. Now you then have people being more Chamisa than Chamisa, being more Mwonzora than Mwonzora. You know, this is the tragedy of it all. But I accept that it is the democratic right of people to love President Chamisa. And it is the democratic right of people like Ngoni, who has talked there, to love President Chamisa. It is also the democratic right of whosoever to love Douglas Mwonzora, or to love Muzuri, or to love Zizai, or to love Biti. It is the democratic right. You cannot say everybody has freedom as long as they back this one, but do not have freedom when it is that one. No, that is speaking with a double tongue, and that is unfair. Now, Ngoni, I will be very happy if you can supply to my leaders in the standing committee the evidence that I may have been bought, the fact that I think differently, the fact that I'm looking at things differently, the fact that I'm sticking to the democratic tenets is the responsibility of the Secretary General. It does not mean that you have been bought. I think I possess sufficient common sense to think for myself. I have been a lawyer for 26 years. And of those 26, 18 of those, I was a law lecturer, and I was so privileged to teach some of the best legal brains in this country. Tabani Mpofu was one of my best students. So I do possess a little bit of common sense to think for myself. I don't have to be taught by ZANU-PF.
And very articulate and factual. That's a comment coming from Valentine Kunaka. Wait, your time will come. I think it's not yet your time. Desmond Mvumbi, thank you so much. Mwonzora, what about other position? Jemu Kativu, thank you so much for that question. Alexander Augochisora, and the challenging is not a problem, but Chamisa is the people's problem. That's Alexander Chisora Gore. Tinokutenda chaizvo nokuti nyora kwamaita Simba Nyabunze. Anzi Mwonzora akaita MDC president. Anzi Mwonzora akaita MDC president. Then ndakudzokera ku ZANU PF. That's a comment coming from Simba Nyabunze. Right. Anzi ngavapindure kuti vadaita president ere kwete kutaurira zvakawanda. Edward Chiringa, thank you so much. Let's start with Edward.
No. Let's start with Nyabunze. That if Mwonzora becomes president of the MDC, then he goes to ZANU PF. It is his democratic right. We have also heard someone earlier who said that if Mwonzora becomes president, I will join the MDC. So opinion is always going to be divided. We don't force people to like us. People may have opinion about what I am and so on. That is why there is a ballot paper. That is why there's an election process. If you don't like me, you don't vote for me. If you like him, you vote for him. That is the essence of democracy. Then other positions, of course, I said, this is up to the MDC. If the MDC think that I must go back to being spokesperson, it's up to them. They will nominate me for that position. If they think I must remain as Secretary General, they will nominate me for that position. If they think I must be president, they nominate me for that position. The point is, there is no need for MDC members to get wet under the collar, because the decision on who leads this party is in their hands. And I am saying as your Secretary General here, that you wait for your turn. There's going to be a ward congress. You can vote there. There's going to be the district. There's going to be the provincial congresses. There's going to be the national congress. Hold your horses, get your pens, make sure you have pens which write, so that you cast your ballot and decide the leadership of the party. The leadership of the party is not going to be decided by firing diatribes at people, by heaping insults on people, by trying to destroy a career for someone. I have been in opposition for many, many years.
Now let's move further to Mobile Party, Chimopina Mnyika. Recently, President Emerson Mnangagwa has been calling for national dialogue. What's your stance as the Secretary General?
The question of the national dialogue was resolved by the National Council of the MDC last year. And the MDC's position is that we want dialogue. But the MDC wants dialogue that is genuine, unconditional, as well as bona fide. It has to be genuine, it has to be unconditional, it has to be inclusive. Those three elements: genuine, unconditional, and inclusive. Now, we are not new to dialogue. In fact, in 2008, we were involved in a very, very difficult dialogue after the theft of the elections. We ended up with a global political agreement. After that, we had a dialogue over the constitution. We had a dialogue over electoral reforms. We want dialogue. However, the MDC is saying that it is not fair, it is not conducive to dialogue for President Mnangagwa to insist on certain conditions before dialogue. For example, President Mnangagwa is insisting that we acknowledge him as president. No, this is the subject matter of the dialogue, isn't it?
So up to now, you don't acknowledge him as the president of Zimbabwe?
Well, we actually do not. And we have our reasons for that. We think that his legitimacy is seriously in question, and we have said that to him. But number two, we cannot have President Mnangagwa, who is a protagonist in this dispute, in this inter-party dispute. He's a protagonist. Then he is presiding over the talks. That cannot be. Zimbabwe is not new to political dialogue. In 1979, Lancaster House, it was not chaired by Ian Smith or Mwonzora, who was Prime Minister of Zimbabwe at that time. It was chaired by somebody else.
Like
global
in this
political
case,
agreement, it was made.
who is suitable to chair this dialogue? according to you?
We have not been prescriptive, but we have said that anybody, either national or international, preferably a former head of state, can be a facilitator.
Robert Mugabe, for example?
No, because Robert Mugabe will not be acceptable to the both parties. We want somebody who is acceptable to all parties. And the parties can negotiate. We have a lot of former heads of state, well-meaning people in the region. Inside that, we do have them.
Okay, we want those names so that the viewers.
Well, we have such names as President Chisano, we have President Kikwete, we have people in Kenya and so on. We can approach those people and we can ask them to facilitate, because that's how it works. In 1979, it worked because we had a facilitator, a neutral facilitator, the British. In 2009, we had in 2009 we had Thabo Mbeki, who was the mediator, the facilitator, and then we had Jacob Zuma and so on. It works that way, and we produced results. Why President Mnangagwa wants to insist on presiding over the dialogue is the source of problem. And we are saying we are ready for dialogue. And when we did not go to State House, we didn't just keep quiet. We wrote him a letter to say we have not found it proper for us to go to the State House, because you are going to be presiding over the issue where we think you are the accused. You are sitting as the judge, and where we think actually you are supposed to be in the dock.
You said for over 20 years practicing law.
26.
26 years. Okay, take me through the normal procedures from a layman's perspective. An issue starts at the magistrate court, then it moves on to the High Court,
Yes.
then to the Supreme Court,
Yes.
then to the Constitutional Court. After that, there's nothing.
Yes.
So the Constitutional Court said, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa is the president of Zimbabwe. Then you say, no, it's too illegitimate. So what do we follow now?
Yes. What is important now is what exactly the Constitutional Court said and how it arrived at that decision. First of all, the Constitutional Court refused President Chamisa access to the server. And we think the server would have proven the real figures. Number two, up to now, Oscar, if I ask you, besides the declaration of the Supreme Court, the declaration of ZEC, how many votes did President Mnangagwa have? Those figures are not there. The ZEC continues to have figures in a constant state of flux. So it does put a credible question on the credibility of and legitimacy of the president. But
Mwonzora, Oscar abatwa nenyaya osungwa nyaya yosvika ku Constitutional Court of what you're guilty. Chero ndaka pachine chachinja kwandira.
Hakuna chinochinja ba Oscar. Nekuti nyaya yawataura ndeye Constitutional Court, ndeye criminal offenses kuti mhosva dzemumatare. Nyaya yezvematongerwo enyika ndeye mavhoti evanhu. And chokwadi ndechekuti tikatarisa even nemafigures ezeki yacho, Chamisa 2 million plus votes, Mnangagwa 2 million plus votes. So we have a body politic, Zimbabwean body politic, which is almost divided 50-50. There are almost 50% of Zimbabwean voters who do not approve of President Mnangagwa. Now, when faced with that, we have to ventilate everything. Politics, elections are decided by the courts, but they are also decided politically. So this is an election system, a constitutional court case is an oddity. It is a rarity to normal other cases. It stands to reason that where the Zimbabwean body politic is so divided, a solution has to be found which caters for the other 50% of the population. But we are saying as MDC, we are open for dialogue, we are ready to play our part. Let the government create the conditions. For example, President Mnangagwa wanted us to go to State House to talk to him at the time when our key members were in detention or internally displaced, when the army was busy brutalizing people and so on. The atmosphere, the environment was not conducive.
This is Talking Everything with Oscar. Let's just take a short break, and when we return, we come with the solutions as well as read some of your views and comments. Please don't go anywhere. It's a short break. Well, thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is Talking Everything with Oscar. Remember, on the program right now, this live, we've got the Secretary General of the MDC Alliance, Senator Douglas Mwonzora. Just before the break, we were talking about the solutions needed to move forward.
Sure. First of all, Oscar, the MDC supports the integration of Zimbabwe into the international community. We support the engagement, re-engagement of Zimbabwe into the international community. In other words, Zimbabwe must be able to trade freely with other countries. However, this reintegration of Zimbabwe into the International Community of Nations must be matched with a movement by Zimbabwe, a concrete movement towards concrete, tangible social, political, and economic reforms. In other words, the European Union, for example, must re-engage Zimbabwe, but Zimbabwe must show that it is reforming, it is moving in the right direction in the area of human rights, rule of law, security of the person, corruption, and so on. So there must be reform. So we do accept, and we have always said, let us re-engage the international community, but that must be on a quid pro quo basis.
The MDC always talks about electoral reforms, even before elections and even during the elections. Electoral reforms will not contest these elections until electoral reforms have been made, media reforms have been made. Have this been made? Has anything changed?
Well, to some extent, yes, we have had a few electoral reforms. One of them is the BVR, the Biometric Voter Registration System. The code of conduct of the political parties. These things we actually negotiated them directly through the inter-party dialogue. There has been a relative freedom to campaign in the last election. But we went into this election with 6 outstanding issues. Among them, the militarization of ZEC, the militarization of the electoral process. That was a big issue. The other thing was the access to key information by the contesting parties, to key electoral information. For example, the number of the ballot papers printed, the actual person printing the ballots, the security of those ballot papers. We went into the election, into the past election, without those issues being resolved. So we do have quite a lot of outstanding electoral reform issues. And we think that to even our playing field, we need to even, we need those resources, the reforms.
John Chitako Zanzi, the opposition Oscar is no more in Zimbabwe. Muniwese angotamba disguise. Muniwese ndeve ZANU-PF. How would you come in?
I don't know what that means. Certainly we are not ZANU-PF. Certainly Chamisa is not ZANU-PF. Mwonzora is not ZANU-PF. It is not ZANU-PF. We think differently. We are Zimbabweans. But what we are saying is that we want electoral reforms. We want, in the dialogue, we want a neutral mediator. That's not unreasonable. The people who are refusing that are acting unreasonably.
And you said Robert Mugabe cannot be the negotiator.
Certainly not. Please let the old man rest. He has gone through a lot. He's 95, I think.
All right, since the inception of the MDC, would you say at this particular stage you're confident of the leadership within the party? Are you happy with what the internal affairs of the party?
Well, I am reasonably happy. I'm reasonably happy. We could do better in some areas, but those are things that we will always try to deal with. For example, we need to improve our system regarding candidate selection. It wasn't very perfect in the last election, and the Elections Directorate is actually dealing with that.
What happened in the last election?
Well, we did not leave enough time for the primary elections. We left it too late, and we had a situation where we had double candidature in some of the instances. So those are areas that we can improve as a party administratively, and we are working on those.
This one comes from Dean Kudzaita feels that contesting against Nelson Chamisa Mdara is suicide. Chamunorwa, Macleland, Chifojo, why is Zimbabwe in not freely trading with other countries? Honorable Mwonzora, may you answer, please?
Well, Zimbabwe is not freely trading with other countries, among other things, because Zimbabwe has restrictive measures imposed on it because of its human rights record. You know, ZIDERA, the American Zimbabwe Democracy and Economic Recovery Act, that was promulgated by the US Congress. It deals with Zimbabwe's human rights abuses, selective application of the law, lack of constitutionalism, no rule of law, gross human rights violations. Now, the other nations are saying, in order for us to trade with you, do not kill your people, do not be selective against your people, you must not politicize food aid. And all Zimbabwe needs to do is not to do those things. And with that, the cause for the restrictions will go. But there is also massive corruption, state-sponsored corruption in this country. There is violence against the private person. Only a few weeks ago, the soldiers were beating up people in the townships, abducting people, raping women.
Is this factual or my allegations, or you have this on the record? You're basing on what?
It is factual.
Oh, it's factual. You've got the evidence.
The videos of the women who were complaining about rape do exist. The videos of the soldiers shooting people do exist.
The videos,
videos of soldiers beating up people.
I'm just being genuine.
Oscar, you know, in the courts, this is one of the problems in the courts, where the victim, the standard of proof that some of the magistrates would want is the actual sexual intercourse itself. It doesn't happen in public. Sexual intercourse doesn't.
But you're basing your answer on those videos.
We are basing our answer on the complaints that were made,
which can be true or false.
Which in all probability are true, because we have evidence of soldiers going into a hut. We have evidence of people screaming in that hut, women screaming in that hut, and we have evidence of soldiers getting out of that hut, and we have evidence of a woman saying I was raped in that hut. Now that is circumstantial enough.
Oh, so the camouflage truly identified it as a show in Sojo?
Yes.
We
some of these soldiers, Oscar, we stay with them, don't we? They are our relatives. They are probably our friends, some of them. Some of them we know, they are our neighbors. We know that this is Mkoma Rex, he works in 5th Brigade. We know that. And therefore, our people were able to identify some of the soldiers, some of the police officers. The women themselves were able to identify them. But the problem is, the state has not cared to investigate this.
Right, Hanzi na customer guy to mediate what? Please take note of that comment. Washi Muzavazi apa Mwonzora ari kungotaura zvese akufumura party. That's Washi Muzavazi. Thank you so much for your comment. Din kudzaita fira hanzi back to back and comment yenyu. Mwonzora aneka gelish maflos comment yawa kuna flosi makombe. Thank you so much for your comment. Go Douglas, it's your democratic and constitutional right to contest for any position in your political party. That's Tarisai Museva. Aubrey, anzi mdala Chamisa magetsi anodarika zanu munotsva Dr. Varugita. Gerard, Uncle Ged Belts, anzi if you receive a nomination for MDC president, are you going to contest the position?
Yeah, let me go to the person who is saying Kufumura first.
Okay.
You see, you cannot have your cake and eat it. And I want to say to our MDC members, you can't have your cake and eat it. You cannot make allegations against a person, a secretary general, not in private, in public, and then expect them not to answer. People have got the right to answer. The people have to know the truth. As I said, I'm holding this position of Secretary General in trust. This is a people's position. They want to know whether their Secretary General is sold out or not. And therefore, I am answering back. I'm answering back because our leaders saw it fit to give their allegations in the public domain. We are the standing committee.
When you say your leaders, Chamisa.
No, President Chamisa never did that.
Okay.
I'm not complaining against Nelson Chamisa at all.
You are complaining against who?
I am complaining against some of the leaders.
Okay, Babi.
Well, I am not like them.
You will not tell us.
I am not like them, and therefore I am not going to be giving the names here. But these names are in the public domain. The people.
So can I read public? Tell us.
Then read them. Read them. They're in the public domain. The people who are asking me know who those leaders are. Now, those leaders on the public platform, on Twitter, on Facebook, made their allegations.
Okay, which leaders?
And I am saying, I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
I am saying, just to answer to the gentleman, he may be right. He may be worried that people are speaking this in public domain. It is because the allegations were made in the public domain.
Okay, what were the allegations?
The allegations were that I was working for ZANU-PF, which is certainly not true.
And it was done by people in the leadership of the MDC Alliance?
It was posted on Twitter, on WhatsApp, by some of the leaders.
So the MDC Alliance, is it correct to say currently there is confusion right now as I speak? I
don't think it's confusion, Oscar. This is purposeful. These are people who want to destroy somebody's career. That's how I interpret it. Because leaders who are serious, who come with their allegations to the president will have evidence of Mwonzora doing this, and the president will suspend me or summon me or whatever. That did not happen. People went to Twitter, to WhatsApp. They went to the court of public opinion. I am going to the same court and laying my case to the same court. It is allowed by the rules of natural justice.
So is there democracy in the movement for democratic change, or there's no democracy?
Of course there's democracy. Democracy means that we are able to make our decisions in a democratic manner. That's why we have the standing committee, the national executive, the national council. I'm not complaining about those bodies because they were democratic as far as they dealt with us. They were very, very professional. I am talking about a leader who abandons the internal forum and goes external, makes allegations which are damaging against another leader.
But now, Senator, with all due respect, and this is in public domain, 2-0.
Oscar, your question is like asking me to prove that the sun rises from the east. There is nothing to prove. They are there. And I'm not going to be like them and talk about them. I will talk about them after Wednesday. After Wednesday, when I confront them in the National Standing Committee. Well, then there's somebody who is saying that I think Mwonzora is girlish. I don't know what that means. I don't know whether he thinks I look like a girl or certainly you can see I've got beard. I have a little testosterone in me and so on. I'm quite okay. I'm quite fit. In fact, in my younger years, I was an athlete of note. I ran for Goromonza High School. I ran for Mashonaland East. I ran for the university squad. I played football, black strikers in Highfield. I'm quite a fit person.
And the question
I'm very, very masculine.
From Gerard. Anzi, if you receive a nomination for MDC president, are you going to contest the positions? Anzi, please answer directly.
Gerard, I wish I could answer you directly, but let me give you the permutations. If, for example, I receive 10 out of 10 nominations, I will have no option to lie. If I have 50% of the nominations, that's a 50-50 for me. If I have one nomination out of 10, I will have to look at other factors as well. I am aware that at some previous election, I won with one nomination out of 12. But that doesn't always happen. It doesn't always happen that way. I will then look at other factors. I will then look at how fairly has been the nomination process. How is it possible to win ultimately in Congress in spite of the inferior nomination figures? So and I'll also look at what seems to be the sentiment of the majority of the MDC people. All those I will consider.
Jamie Kativu, Anzi Mwonzora starako, that is why Uripama Wana Chamisa, Apple, Dr. Rabawaita, Anzi.
Sorry, read that again.
Anzi Hawaii phone. Anzi iwe Mwonzora chimbomira izvozvo MDC iri stable na Chamisa ari president kudaro ndiwe wakuda kukonzeresa let me just open it up anzi ndiwe wada kukonzera nyonga mhani Kasim Matula.
Well, Kasim, I'm very sorry that you think like that. I have not caused anything. All I'm saying is that because the MDC people must vote for their candidates at Congress. I have not put my candidature yet. And I am waiting for the nomination process. That in no way affects MDC adversely.
But say some journalist ndikuona unge pane dambudziko kuti vanhu vakutokunyorai painternet vemupati menyu muchiti muri united pane unity of purpose here. Purpose.
Well, look, we are in a season, and this is the campaign season. We are going to elections. Amongst ourselves, different from where we are contesting an external opponent like ZANU-PF. We are amongst ourselves, and we do, unfortunately, and this is regrettable for me, you do unfortunately find yourself where some of the colleagues, top-ranking colleagues, are going to the public domain with things that they know are false. And I have said, bring that to the public domain, bring the evidence, come to the party, bring it before the president, Advocate Chamisa, and so on. And that's why you see Advocate Chamisa does not comment. I am commenting because I have the right to reply. It is not up to anybody within the MDC to destroy 30 years of my career.
Tanaka Muungani, Mwonzora, can you support Chamisa per Congress kana kuti kwete?
What does that mean? Sorry.
Anzi pane kuti tiita macandidates akati wandeka. Kuti vachamisa vari kupisa.
What's his name?
His name is Tanaka Muungani.
Mr. Muungani, well, it may be Miss. Okay. Tanaka, let me say this to you. If President Chamisa is nominated, or if
you are nominated,
if President Chamisa is nominated, and if President Chamisa, if we agree that President Chamisa is going to be the president, why should I not support him? I've supported him before. I've always done that. I am loyal to my leaders. And if he's the leader, I will support him 100%.
Okay, let me put it this way. Pane need here yokutsvaga umwe mutungamiriri weparty ku MDC alliance kana kuti tongofamba nawo Chamisa.
It's not up to me. That is up to the members of the MDC.
Aiwa, as a Secretary General munozvona sei chiri best chiya tot Secretary General weparty totsvaga umwe president candidate here kana tongomhanya neye aripo.
I have no idea. As I said, as Secretary General, my position is process driven. If the people of the MDC think like that, then that's okay with me. But they do it at the Congress. They then confer him with that authority. It has to be a process. It has to be at a Congress. It has to be by them. It doesn't have to be by individuals.
Okay,
and so on.
Is President Chamisa there by default? Pawari baba pakutungamira party according to you. Ngati ndo ari legitimate iri panguva inofambisa MDC alliance kubva pawakasarudzwa.
Well, he is our president as we speak.
Aiwa, ndati kona kwenyu mimi sure leadership yawo imimi mutofamba naye kana kuti pane zvamuri kuona indo chakadai so zvinobuda.
Oh, you mean his abilities as a leader? Is that so? Is that the question? I'm sorry.
Yes, that's the question.
Oh, whether he is a capable leader or not. I think he's a good leader.
He's a good leader.
I think he's capable enough.
And as Secretary General, you don't have problem Makacha President foot.
If that is the decision of the people, I have no problem.
Okay, Makacha President, would you be still in the party? Can I
will be in the party. Why would I? He is the president right now, and I'm in the party. I have been the MDC for many years, more years than what my colleagues are writing in the social media, and this one I can name him now.
More years than President Chamisa?
Yeah, no, not more years than President Chamisa.
Okay, how many years Chamisa?
Well, it depends on when you say the MDC was formed actually. And as I said to you, that is $1 million question, but I'm just going to zero in on one statistic that is important. Dr. Ruhanya talked about in one of his tweets today, Dr. Pesa Ruhanya talked about Mwonzora not being in the MDC in 2005. Again, this is an example of where people don't even research. In 2005, I was actually the MDC candidate for Nyanga North. I had won a primary election against the sitting MP, who was Mr. Chirowa Mango at that time. And I was actually the candidate of Nyanga North, of the combined Nyanga for MDC. But you have an intellectual who is writing in the public domain that this man was not there in the MDC and so on. So for me, it is up to the members. And this is where I think we are missing each other with a lot of people. The MDC members have the right to choose a president of their choice. And this president can be President Chamisa, it can be anybody else. It's not for me to say. They do it, but they have a forum to do it every 5 years, and that forum is the Congress. And there is a process to do it. And that process starts with the nomination, declaration of the date, nomination, free and fair campaigns within the party. We have to allow people who want to contest for any position the right of audience within the party. That's what we have been doing over the years. And from there, we go to the lower congresses up to the National Congress. At that National Congress, people then vote for their president. And that's why President Chamisa is saying, we are going to the Congress. If they want him again, they will still vote for him. It's not an individual decision.
Let me just read 5 comments, then we wind up. The geographically Mwonzora, okay, we read this one. I believe you are of the best brains in the MDC, but however, I don't know about the timing. That's a Wushe, Elias Nengu. At least someone stable is talking. Tarisai Museva, thank you so much for your comment. Zanzi, don't select comments Imbwa Iwe. That's Brandon Mudu. Brandon, thank you so much for your comment there. Zanzi Chinu, kuna dagi Mashua, that's Kuziva Ntakiwa. Thank you so much for your comment. Now, the party is playing right into ZANU-PF's hands. It's divide and rule. Joseph Majamuse, tinokutenda chaizo for writing to us. Isdori Jenga Naimaigwa Anzi Chamisa Do MDC. That's Isdori. Thank you so much for writing to us. Netsai, not now, Mr. Mwonzora. Not good timing is your comment. Netsai Limbani Mashiri. Dagi is a natured leader, not the CCC. Temba Tawanda Mugaza. Thank you so much for your comment. What Mwonzora is failing to see is that contesting against Nelson Chamisa will only seed division within the MDCA party. It will give way. The enemy, that's ZANU-PF, the way to destroy you from within. Be careful and be aware, Mr. Mwonzora. United we stand, divided we fall. So you are right, Secretary General, you are right. No need to be hostile. Rumbi Mazore, Oscar Vunzamunu, Zaganaka, with respect. That's Rumbi Mazore. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thido Munyonga, Mwonzora, you just killed your political career. You failed to sense the atmosphere. General Jaden Zimbabwe Mongoseka Magati Oscar Pamberi Anzi Itamudzuri Mani ndiye sell out. That's Kasim Matola. Silver Bebe Wende ndiye Argurewa. Lydia Mudila. Secretary General, I think you are being immature now. We are now judging you by your reactions. Now, these were some of the comments we received on this live broadcast. Before you conclude, how would you respond to those comments, as well as give us the way forward?
My brother Brandon, first, we don't call each other names when we are in this is dialogue, this is discussion. If he thinks I'm wrong, then he has to show me how wrong I am. We don't have to call each other names and so on. And just coming to name calling, it led to tragic consequences in Rwanda. People being called cockroaches and so on. And before we knew it, we had a genocide. The same as don't call other people dogs and so on and so on. If you don't like my answers, and if my answers were not convincing to you, I'm really sorry about that. But you have a right to differ with me, and I have a right to differ with you. Timing, it has been asked 2 times by people who think that the timing is not right. Let me just assure people that I am in the process of making my decision, and I am consulting, and my decision will also deal with other factors like, is it time yet or what? It's going to happen. Divide and rule, yes, ZANU-PF will try to do that, but what we need to do is to set the record straight, and this is what I was trying to do. The stability of the party, yes, we want a stable party, and we will strive to make this party stable. But let me go back to say that MDC is a democracy, and I went into opposition in 1988 as a law student, as a young law student, because it was not right that we have a dictatorship in our country. And democracy has its moments, has its painful moments. And this is one of them, when party members are asked to select. I have not yet said I want to be president of MDC. It is the people who will make that timing, who will make that decision for me. It is not up to me. So I just want to tell the members that there is no candidate yet within the MDC. I am not one of the candidates yet. It is going to be up to the people when the time comes. After Wednesday, we are going to be announcing the dates for the nomination. And at the nominations, it is up to the people. It is up to the MDC.
That was the Secretary General of the MDC Alliance, Senator Douglas Mwonzora. Senator Mwonzora, thank you so much for joining us on this live broadcast.
Thank you.
Viewers, thank you so much for taking your time, using your bundles, your views and comments. We truly appreciate. May God bless each and every one of you. Until we meet again on Talking Everything with Oscar, enjoy.
We bring you live studio interactive talk shows and interviews.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this live broadcast.
It is said to note that every day in our local papers there is a case of rape. Are the current penalties not good enough to stop perpetrators from committing crime?
But as we close, I've also seen or read in the newspapers that there are some people who are leaving your party. Why?
We live stream news press conferences as it happens.
We always last longer because we are revolutionaries, we are guerrillas. And today we have proved that we last longer. These neophytes who were using a marriage certificate of a married woman and a senior old man to try to take power.
Our engagement with ZEC, which is very clear, that ZEC has shown that they are not willing to be open to dialogue. They are stubborn and arrogant. They are opaque in their processes.
We have the capacity to live stream debates from various locations for a wide range of clients.
Welcome to this public seminar that has been organized by the Institute for Security Studies in partnership with SAPES Trust and myself, Violet Gonda. We will start the first half with a question and answer segment where I will ask our panelists some questions, and then in the second half we will actually take questions from the floor, and also if there are any contributions from our viewers at home who are watching on social media, we'll also do the same. We are live streaming on our Facebook, on the SlyMedia Productions Facebook page.
So, coming to the issue of elections, there is jurisprudence that election petitions are not decided on numbers only. They are decided on numbers, or they are decided by the environment. If the court finds that the elections were not free and fair, as the first hurdle, the matter must end there, and the election must be vitiated.
The way you see that there was never a plan to win this petition legally is how it was framed. First order that he wanted, a declaration that the election was not free or fair. Second sentence, make me president. How do you do that? If it was not free or fair, how does the court make you president?
We follow them and help build Zimbabwe brand on a positive note. When you think of reaching the ever-growing internet audience with your video adverts, think SlyMedia TV Online. If you want to pre-package TV programs, documentaries, weddings and church services, think SlyMedia Productions, building bridges. Your TV on the go, anytime, anywhere, worldwide. At SlyMedia Productions, we offer live streaming services to companies willing to reach a worldwide audience. We bring you live studio interactive talk shows and interviews.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this live broadcast.
It is said to note that every day in our local papers there is a case of rape. Are the current penalties not good enough to stop perpetrators from committing crime?
But as we close, I've also seen or read in the newspapers that there are some people who are leaving your party. Why?
We live stream news press conferences as it happens.
We always last longer because we are revolutionaries, we are guerrillas. And today we have proved that we last longer. These neophytes who were using a marriage certificate of a married woman and a senior old man to try to take power.
Our engagement with ZEC, which is very clear, that ZEC has shown that they are not willing to be open to dialogue. They are stubborn and arrogant. They are opaque in their processes.
We have the capacity to live stream debates from various locations for a wide range of clients.
Welcome to this public seminar that has been organized by the Institute for Security Studies in partnership with SAPES Trust and myself,